The Woe of Roanoke, Book 3, A Ruined Human Being, 24th of March, 1603, Thomas Hume. So I stand pinched, but yet have clinched a trump of a scoop to gloat. For your priest revealed that the son that you shield is his, which he sold for a groat. A crazed male cattle gorge your old man's cattle, his bulls dinna spoil his wife. I've a tale to grip the rabble, it'll claw back my flawed life. A bestseller read, half demon brood and half the seed of the cloth. Your son is my star in my book's bizarre saga of the church and the Goth. And I want you to know, for it's time to go, bend the boughs of your tree, that every bean sowed and the bane that they bowed will end with this story. Agnes. I was a slave in a vampire's cave. I'm a victim, as is thee. If you've a heart, you'll not impart my boy's identity. Tear up your text and spare his neck. Print, you'll snare an innocent. End your revenge insistence. Persevere, and this I swear, I'll hex your short existence. Narrator. It took 2 guards to tie her arms, another to smother her voice. Took another 2 to swing the lasso. Together they heaved the hoist. Creaked the branch that hung the minks that clawed the hemp for air. Not one dared glimpse her bulged glare for fearful foul of her jinx. No, 'tis wrong, he's my golden one. Let his future flourish. A living hell will follow on, I'll bet, if he's to perish. She tried to twist, to lock the look, to deal the debt of Thomas. To her choked despair, he oft his stare. Her threat became a promise. Spirit of scourge, I command the summons pleas of thee. With thy black hand disease the land in his vicinity. The stoked curse invoked a storm, a deluge on this downcast morn. Rain clouds of darkened furthermore by crows with murder in their core. She wailed in sway till she went grey, limp fell her tiny wrists. The townfolk say that to this day her grieving ghost persists. As Agnes's demise pronounced, a courier cantered in, announced, Bess is dead, long live the Queen, and folk forgot the hanging bean. The menace loomed, as was presumed, from the Stuart regime. Soon Alba swept for secrets kept to keep his image clean. A hasty London migrate, the theatre thrill and aim. Disguise he merged with compromised, falsified new name. Thus part crusade of the puppet parade who came to curry favour. In Southwark's sinful suburb stayed to soak the stimulus flavour. Some happy weeks in cloistered streets he sauntered to inspire. To distract twink of the vibe and the stink he planned the moon's retire. A month-long hibernation with supplies to feed his need. Sat scribbling expositions for thespians to read. Huddled in a hovel on the saga that he planned, Thomas at his novel noticed not the noxious land. Alighted at his writing desk, he'd only quit to sleep. Did not notice pestilence had galloped in to reap. The manuscript completed, he emerged to copper sun, then dropped the print in shock and squint, saw what had thus become. He strayed dismayed to theatre town, to start his soul's decay. The playhouses were closed down. The plague had come to play. In squat distraught by the padlock wrought iron gates of the globe, reflecting at his luckless lot, his conscious self in probe. And as he analysing for answers for this state, a threat bade up him rising, up face to face his fate. A boy to rent, a city gent, lodging in my manor, a cutlass pressed to ego dent by the mugger's manner. Arrested in penury, pondering this strife, upsurged a misted fury, which flipped the threatened knife. When the mist had melted and the tempest had becalmed, an anxious ringing riled as regard the vagabond. The sound was but tinnitus stress, assumed a watchman's whistle. He braced escape the stepped recess and perforated gristle. He paused to pluck the robber's purse, the white noise was decreased. So stopped, surveyed Agnes's curse, saw what she had released. This pulsing place that now was raw, a crucifix on every door. The grass that grew where trundled carts, as merchants moved to further parts. No artists left to grace the arts, save painters with a raft of red to cross the spot where dwelled the dead. The damaged pimps with famished whores as punters sniffed the bubo sores. Unmanaged pits with silent cheers, mere memories of the bitten bears, and fighting cocks with unbet claws. Prophetically, a leak of laughter, the promised pox had carved disaster. Swept through sewers, cellars, rafters, it squeezed the dogs and sneezed the masters, panicked the preachings of the pastors. Oily rats as slick as foxes breakfasted in rancid boxes, boxes full of blackened corpses, stacked by those whose hacking coughing would soon fill a stacking coffin. This hub of industry derailed as ailing London's heartbeat failed. Still the city stink prevailed. In desolate delirium he reeled in disbelief, then sought a whore emporium to dicker some relief. "Pray enter," bade the brothel's marm, "drink to our decline." For the prostitutes had looted a polluted shop of wine. Pickled in a drunken trance, to part forget, to part enhance, that tickled perfume tender first, female touch that purged his purse. He swigged in swing his quart of ale, spurting to her fickle wail. Bangs not heard a spurt on time, the hammered nails of quarantine. Shut up in dark without a meal, fumbling, finding things by feel, feeling kegs but needing bread, felt the rigor mortis dead. Crazed in the contaminated boudoir, crazed in a claustrophobic stupor, as fevered tarts with oozing marks farted as he starved. He drank to numb what he had become, his buggered life in tatters. Mug as blood in sleep he swum, of which he still bespattered. One by one in shuttered gloom the dying doxies raved their doom. One by one the pleasure rooms came to be contagious tombs. His rasping harlot's final rantings played imaginations feared. With this last cool girl departing, horrific images appeared. His stomach stewed in bile and beer, in addled altered stance. Famine straddled him to jeer, joined mort and pestilence.